started. So, ladies, tell me why you decided to do the show.
Ooh, why not? I think it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, I know reality TV has its own stigma, as most things do, but it was like in Paris, finding love. Yes, I would rather know than not know. It for me, it was kind of a no-brainer once things were getting close to call. So
Yeah, I think for love, for romance, for Paris, for the outfits, for the fashion.
yeah, the list goes
but the
on.
list goes on. I mean, yeah, like it's just the idea of meeting your soulmate in the most beautiful place in the world where it's super romantic and beautiful. And also the idea of falling in love for the first time. Like that's
In
in
Paris.
Paris,
Uh,
like why not?
I think for me, it was about taking a risk and looking for love in a place where I really felt like I could really be myself, um, and a beautiful place at that.
I actually want to second everything Rose said. I was, when I saw this, when I got the opportunity, I was really hesitant, but I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm not going to know if I'm ready to find love unless I try. And Paris is my favorite place in the entire world. Like I have done so much growing in my life in Paris when I've studied there, my friends, just having learned French for the majority of my life, French culture, being so fascinated by everything. I was like, you know what? I'm never going to know unless I take the risk. I'm never going to know if I'm ready unless I take the risk. And what better place to do that is in my favorite place in the entire world. And let's go for it. Let's take the leap.
Nice. And what would you say was the biggest challenge for each of you of doing the show and trying to find love?
Um, for me personally, it was dating multiple people at the same time. Especially when you're living with them, that can get a little bit messy.
I think for me, it was not wanting to repeat old patterns and really trying to be conscious and intentional of what I was doing, who I was looking for, what I was looking for, self-sabotaging, because we've all done that in the past, especially since we're human beings and we grow and we develop. And for me, it was like I have done so much work with my therapist and on myself. It's like, I think it's time. I think I can change those patterns. In the US, it's really hard to because the dating culture is exactly what you know it to be. It's not a challenge, it's not a new perspective, it's none of that. So, yeah, for me, it was okay. Like, how does this experience differ from what I'm used to and know, and how am I different from what I used to be, and how can I move forward in a way that's better and healthier for me?
hmm. Yeah, I agree with everything that Rose and Caroline said as well. I was intimidated by the dating multiple people in front of everyone at the same time from the same pool of people. I mean, it was just like, this is a lot. But your comfort zone will kill you, so it's like get out of there, take the risk, as they've been saying, and put yourself out there and let yourself be vulnerable, let life and yourself and someone else catch you and see what happens. What's there to lose at this point? And so for me, I am a mental health advocate, but that came out of my need for a community to destigmatize mental health because I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And I never thought I could do a show like this, to be honest. I thought it would be too, it would dysregulate what already I struggle to, regulate and stabilize. And I have done so much work. I've spent my whole 20s working to be okay with me and to learn that there's nothing negative about who I am and my brain chemistry. And so it was amazing having these women beside me to be honest with and be like, hey, right now I'm in a moody lacy mode, but that was acceptable because anyone that you're going to be in a relationship with has to be willing to accept you the same way that you do with them. So this show was it was like an intense catalyzing experience of how quickly you can connect with people, and be vulnerable at this like intense pace. So I liked the deep intense connection right away because I get bored with all the stuff on the top layer anyway. So of course it was challenging to my emotional health, mental health at times, but it pushed me to grow more and to really be intentional with the connections.
Hmm.
What about you, baby?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was like just everything being new,
Yeah.
like the whole new experience of everything, being new to like Paris, being new to dating French people, being new to like actually really putting myself out there vulnerably, being vulnerable with people, and you know, having all of these new experiences. You know, I like never really been in a relationship, so like that was really new for me, you know, trying to figure out what romance really was, and what it's like to really be like be with someone and creating these strong connections. So I feel like I that was hard for me trying to figure out all of my inner emotions, but I'm so glad that I had the girls here who were there by my side every second of it, and were willing to, you know, let me be me, let me be feel my emotions and cry and yell and feel and be upset. And I know I wouldn't have been able to do it without you girls.
Oh, so cute. Now, did you guys know each other before, or did
Not a
you
wink.
just?
No.
Nope, not even a little bit. Like I remember walking up, meeting each other for the first time and being like, all right, who am I gonna get along with? Like me and Rose have become very close, as have all of us, right? But I was really expecting, I was like, I don't know anything about this girl, but I don't know if we're gonna get along. And everybody in the house we just became like family. Like truly, like these
Yeah.
people are never gonna get rid of me. Like they can try as hard as they want, they're never gonna get rid of me. But that it's because it's just one like fateful day. Like we walked up to this red door, and we're like, oh, okay, like now we know everything about each other in the span of 20 minutes. Like it was crazy, crazy.
And it shows a great, I think it's a good lesson of like, we were all there to work for the same thing, to find love, to enjoy the experience. We were the Americans in Paris, you know, and it was cool to see that camaraderie that was just, it was natural, but at the same time, it was necessary. We were like,
truly
we
needed each
need
other.
each other. Yeah. So this is going to be great, right? And it was.
And we said from day one, we were like, if one of us goes down, all of us go down. So we were always like, all right, we had like little codes and everything to like ask how we were doing. Like,
Your mom.
yep, how's your mom, in front of the French suitors. So they were like, what? And we were literally like, no, it means how are you? Like, how's your mom is our way of asking secretly, how are you? So that we could all make sure that we were okay. But we knew absolutely nothing about each other. Like no first names, where we were from, sexuality, nothing. It was like weird. But anyway, yeah.
Now, did all your suitors all live in a house with all of you? How did that work? I'm a little curious about that.
Yeah, so it was set up. We had an apartment to ourselves, the four of us, and then the suitors lived a floor above us or two above us, in different apartments.
Oh, wow.
We
That
were
must have
all in
been
the same building, but we didn't really share exactly the same exact like living space as them.
gotcha. How did that work? I mean, I can't imagine there being a little awkwardness or anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is, you know, when you're dating other people, multiple people, it's not actually like, you know, all being together. It's when they go back home and talk about you together. And like I went on a date with Lacey, this, and that, and then someone else is also dating Lacey, and you're not there to kind of be like, oh, well, this is how I come from it. It's like kind of left up in the air a little
And
bit.
it was also weird because we could talk about them. So if we were dating the same people, we're like, I have this perception, or I had this conversation, or I got this vibe. And it was like we were kind of all like, it felt like we were like spies. Like we were like, I know this about this person, and like maybe like you didn't have this conversation, but I'm gonna tell you before your date. Like
Yeah, and that was so important to us because time was very precious there during that whole experience. Sometimes time felt like it didn't exist, and then other times it was just like, I mean, it was hard to get your feet underneath you. And so you don't know how much time you're going to have with people at any given moment as far as the French suitors go. So you have to really make the most and be very intentional. But we really respected each other's opinions about, well, I had a conversation with them this way. Really? Well, I heard this. And you need all of that. You need every bit you can get to piece together the, you know, the vibes of who you're pursuing and who's pursuing you. I mean, we just really needed all of each other's intel, to be honest.
That's amazing. How did you avoid not falling for the same person, or like avoid jealousy or anything like that?
I think I think that like really comes from the respect that we have for each other. Fundamentally, I think we all decided that that was incredibly important in order for all of us to be happy and really enjoy the experience. And so if there was, you know, times where we were dating the same person, it would be about communication and talking about where we're at and our feelings, so that, you know, it didn't turn into anything petty or catty or anything like that. It was just about, you know, we're all extremely close and friends with each other and we respect each other.
Yeah, and as much as we want to pursue what's best for us, part of that is pursuing what's best for each other. Because if one of us isn't succeeding, then none of us are succeeding. And we want to respect and make sure that all of us are finding what we need in the best ways that we can.
I agree. I think it was so important to us all along, and we're just I love the four of us so much. And I'm so grateful it was the four of us because there was this understanding of we all deserve to and are worthy of, but also want to be heard, seen, validated. So we really held a lot of space and took turns when one of us was kind of down or needed alone time. Like we really ebbed and flowed with that kind of emotional journey, but making sure that, you know, we didn't feel overlooked, but we also were like, but I also can't carry everything for you, you know? So it was having that grace with ourselves and each other, including in the dating realm, but also just in your own experience of emotional life.
I think too, if I can add on to that, it's like, wait, oh heck, I lost my train of thought. But I think because the respect we had for each other in the journeys, it made the space that we needed to have to talk about the dates we went on or the feelings we had so possible. And that just opened us up to being so extremely close that it's like, if somebody were to go on a date with somebody else who was dating somebody else in our house, it was like there was no possibility of cattiness or disrespect because we had just developed such a closeness.
We put it
But
out there.
yeah, and it was
Out there.
never, yeah, it was
Yeah.
just all really out of love and respect for the other person. And I think that was really important.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, just like how instantly we all really just bonded, and I feel like our hearts really all became one very quickly. You know, we all respected each other, we all really cared for each other. And at the end of the day, I mean, we were all there for each other in this journey, which was just so amazing and so wonderful.
Nice. And what's the most important lesson you learned about yourselves throughout this entire journey? And whoever wants to start.
I think for me, it was like to trust my gut. I think that was like my biggest lesson that I learned. And I think it was also like something that I heard from like you girls, from Rose, from Caroline, you know, that to really trust myself and my gut and what I really feel is right.
I'm having,
Yeah.
God, we learned so much.
I know, I'm trying to think. I think for me, it's more in the sense I'm very goal oriented, and I'm a planner. I like to set up my life that way. But I think the biggest thing that I learned is that you can't plan everything, obviously, which I knew, but to really live by that, and that sometimes what you're looking for isn't what you think you even want. So just being a little bit more open in that regard.
I think
Go ahead, baby.
I think for me it was like knowing my threshold or learning my threshold. Like I've been in relationships in the past that maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew, like I've taken on more than I should have in terms of, you know, speaking up for what I need or even just staying in the relationship for far too long. And I think here it was like time is so precious that I need to know exactly who I am and what I can and cannot handle. And with that, hopefully something will change. So, yeah.
Yeah, gosh, everything y'all are saying, I'm like, yes, because we had such a group experience. I relate to everything y'all have said. I also think for me, part of it was the trusting myself, but trusting others, trusting these women, trusting different suitors, and allowing yourself to be open and feel safe enough to connect with people so quickly, but also just to be present, to try so hard to ground myself and just exist in the moment as it unfolds before me every second of every day, because so much was unknown there, and I've survived in this protection mode for most of my life, kind of routinely living my life of preparing myself for a safe experience, where here I'm not in control at all. And so I had to trust myself. I had to breathe and say, I just need to handle this next moment in front of me and have fun, let go, be present, and let people surprise you, surprise yourself.
Love that.
I like that too. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. I could talk to you for all day because this is so much fun. But I just want to say, I hope you all found the love you absolutely positively deserve. And I
Gotta
can't
tune
wait.
in. Gotta tune in to find that one out.
Well, obviously, so I hope you all got what you wanted out of the experience. And I'm very proud of you and good luck.
Thank you.
Sammy. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day. You have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Sammy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.